Caitlin Clark has been getting beat down this year. She has been the center of national attention for going on 24, if not 36 months straight. Slick, eventually this has to take a hold, not just on your physical body, on your emotional body as well. You've been watching the WNBA. You've been watching women's basketball. You have a daughter who's currently playing college basketball for a very long time. So let's start with the most important question of the day. Glad y'all are here for this one. Are you worried about Caitlin Clark long term?
No, I am not. Every great athlete goes through this, particularly great athletes who are breaking barriers. And I think that Caitlin Clark is doing exactly that. And so I watched Steph Curry go through this. Okay, so it was ankle issues at the beginning of his career, raised some questions. He had to find a solution and fight his way through it. He wasn't getting beat up, but he was having physical issues. Michael Jordan was getting beat up and had to find a solution to the problem. Every great athlete you can think of coming in, if there were great expectations, there were hurdles that they had to overcome. And so I agree. I think she's had a lot on her plate. This is not Iowa. This is not Kansas anymore, Toto. This is the WNBA. This is the world. And she's got a lot on her shoulders. But I've seen every player, great player, who's had to adjust to that and accommodate it. And I have no doubt that she will do that, whether it's physical or mental. The idea that she's not going to be able to answer the bell, honestly, if we're being sensitive I believe overly sensitive to this, I think we're being sexist. I think we're suggesting that somehow that Caitlin Clark can't handle what we've seen other great male athletes go through and have to adjust to.
I agree with some of what you said, but if you've really been watching not just women's basketball, but if you've been watching this era of athletes with a keen eye, what I mean this era of athletes, really the 29 and under athletes, everybody has to go through it, but not everybody makes it through it unscathed. And here's why I suggest that. Let's talk male athletes, let's talk female athletes, let's talk basketball, amongst other things. Naomi Osaka had to go through this. She was the #1 player in the world at 21. Remember, she had beaten Serena Williams, if I'm not mistaken. #1 player in the world for 25 weeks. But if you recall, she hasn't been #1 in the world since. And Naomi Osaka spoke very candidly and transparently in 2021 when she said, I've often felt that I have no regard for an athlete's mental health, that people have no regard for an athlete's mental health. And this rings very true whenever I partake in press conferences. I'm not going to suggest myself to people that doubt me. That was just Naomi Osaka. Again, she went through it, but she didn't make it through it unscathed. Naomi Osaka could still and should still, you can remove that full screen, could still be dominating right now. But as I think about it, she didn't make it through it unscathed. Sha'Carri Richardson, I believe Sha'Carri Richardson has been the most talented track athlete since you could suggest 2019, 2020, especially most talented American track athlete. If you want to say Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, Elaine Thompson-Herah, you could say that. But Sha'Carri underperformed in 2019. 2020 was a COVID year. She underperformed in 2021. She underperformed in 2022. It wasn't until Rick in 2023, Shady McCoy, James Jones, viewers at home in 2023, that Sha'Carri finally ascended to the highest of heights, where she finally became the world champion. Noah Lyles, he was the greatest 200-meter runner, but he underperformed and went through mental health issues in 2021, 2022, and then finally became champion in 2023 and 2024. I'm saying all of that to say, you have to go through it, but this era of athlete doesn't necessarily make it through it unscathed, because this era of athlete, I think, has to deal with more than any other era of athlete because of social media.
Before we go to the rest of the panel, tell me how Naomi's and those experiences relate to what Caitlin is going through.
I think the physical body is a manifestation of the emotional. And so I think what Caitlin's going through is not only physical. You had a quad injury, you had a groin injury, but nobody has had more attention, I will suggest, you could say in modern sport, than Caitlin Clark because of social media, right? LeBron James, you had the New York Times articles, you had this, you had that, but Twitter wasn't around in 2004. Instagram wasn't around in 2004. TikTok wasn't around in 2004. Caitlin Clark is now being tweeted about at a rate we haven't seen before, and so people hate her because of what she does, and people love her because of what she does. That on top of the expectation of playing the game. And so what I'm suggesting is this era of athlete, particularly the likes of Caitlin Clark, the others I've named, Sha'Carri Richardson, you could suggest was it famous at a time, and Naomi Osaka, when you think international, is famous for a point in time. Nobody has had to deal with the things that Caitlin Clark has had to deal with, and the few women and men who have all underperformed at times and attributed the weight of the world to their underperformance. Simone Biles included, 2021 Olympics. Go back and do your research.
So to that end, what's your answer? You are worried long-term?
I am absolutely worried. I'm absolutely worried long-term. I'm absolutely worried because everybody who's had to go through what Caitlin has had to go through hasn't left unscathed, and they've spoken about it.
I mean, that's all athletes. I'm not worried about Caitlin. All athletes go through things. On the court, on the field, off the field. Maybe people know about it. Maybe some don't know about it. That's because you don't hear about somebody going through something don't mean they didn't go through it. I think every athlete goes, especially when you're really, really good. When you're really, really good, you deal with pressure. You deal with have to meet everybody's expectations. You deal with, am I letting myself down? Am I letting my teammates down? Because you are that special. A lot of other athletes is not as good. They don't have as much pressure. I could just easy and be in the back, in the background and not be as asked to do certain things. So I'm not worried about her. Another thing is, with all the attention that Acho talked about, she's been carrying it though. College, she's been carrying the weight in college. I've never seen a player in college deal with all this attention and still manage to, succeed. Like, let's just think about this for a second. You don't think it's a lot of pressure stuff to deal with? I play for Iowa. Not a lot of great players with me. Now I got to play all these special All-Americans from South Carolina, all these special All-Americans from LSU. And we beating them or we lose to them, but we in the biggest games. Dealing with that, then you go to the WNBA. She's been dealing with all this attention. She's been doing great with it. The thing with adjusting to her body, to the physical part of playing the WNBA, that's part of it. All the great players you're going to talk about, they had to deal with it. They had to deal with it. There's a time when the greatest, Michael Jordan, had an issue with the physicality of playing in the NBA against the Pistons. Some way, somehow, he figured it out. This is just part of being a superstar player, let alone an elite athlete. But I will say this, though. I'm not really worried about Caitlin. I'm really worried about the WNBA in general. Because, as a player, dealing with physical women that's grown, that's been in the weight room for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and I'm just coming from college, and I'm trying in my second year, trying to figure things out, that's difficult. But my issue is, she is so big to sports, let alone to the WNBA, and I keep saying plays where after the whistle's blown, they taking shots at her. And I'm thinking, how are we letting women, or even players, no matter what sport it is, take shots at our best asset, our biggest asset, our most popular asset? We're not just talking about WNBA, we talking about this in sports. She's one of the biggest sports figures we have today. So I'm thinking, if this girl has grown our league tremendously and is going to keep going, why do we keep letting people take shots at her? I don't mind the fouls. They're going to beat her up because she is so good. If I'm a competitor, because women are, we don't look at them like that, but they compete. They compete their tails off. Yes, so if all this talk about her, I'm hitting her, I'm doing this and that to her, cool, I'm okay with that. Because if I was a coach, I would say, hey, beat Caitlin up. That's how we going to win this game. But after the whistle, we got to start finding these girls. When you start in the NFL, when you start finding people and taking their money, all that foolery stuff stops. So when I'm saying I'm not worried about Caitlin, I'm worried for the league, because if you keep letting her beat on Caitlin after the whistle, I don't know where the WNBA would be at without Caitlin Clark.
I'm not worried about Caitlin Clark mentally. I think Caitlin Clark has showed that she can handle it mentally. She's had a lot of attention on her since Iowa, and she stepped on the basketball court and she performs. She gets interviewed, she says the right things. She knows how to talk, she knows how to... I'm not worried about her mentally at all, but I am worried about her physically. Because all them dudes we talked about, and this men and women, even Michael Jordan was not getting picked up from full court. Maya Moore was not getting picked up from full court. Paige Beckers right now is not getting picked up from full court. The baddest woman in the WNBA and Asia Wilson right now is not getting picked up full court. They treat Caitlin Clark different. They approach Caitlin Clark different. Caitlin Clark, for 2 years straight in the WNBA, has been picked up from full court, and she has been treated different. The physicality to her has been different. If it continues to go like this, and I'm not saying change it, because once you step in between them lines, you got to compete. But all I'm saying is if they don't change it, which I don't think they are, that is why I'm worried, because I don't know how long her body can hold up. If you look at Caitlin Clark from this year to last year, she has gotten stronger. She has worked on her game. She has a little mid-range now. If you look at her, she has put on a little weight. She's trying, but game after game, possession after possession, they are beating her up. I'm worried about her body being able to hold up over her career. I do not know how long it is going to be able to hold up if they continue to keep on playing her and treating her like this. That is my worries. She's going to get better as a player. Mentally, she is fine. But how they are playing her and treating her is different, whether we like it or not, whether you're a Caitlin Clark fan or not, whether you like her or dislike her. How they are playing her is different than any other athlete we are seeing. And if you say otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
But here's the thing, though, because I'm worried about it mentally, you're worried about it physically. So what it comes down to is there are clearly worries to some degree. Shady's worried about the league. Slick, let me push back on something that you said in regards to what James just said, because James has me thinking. Nobody's been treated like Caitlin Clark ever from a physical perspective. So we can't even suggest that everybody's had to go through this, because nobody has gotten the attention from a physical rigors perspective that Caitlin has gotten as it pertains to having to get picked at this junction in their careers, right? Steph Curry got treated like this in 2014 and 2015 and 2016 and beyond, but he was already 4 or 5 years into the league at that point in time. Like we talk about, Michael Jordan got treated like that. He was 3 or 4 years into the league at that point in time. Nobody's straight as soon as they got into the league, but also nobody to me has had the attention that Caitlin has had, again, because of social media. You can cuss Caitlin Clark out on your phone right now if you want to. You didn't have that luxury in 2003. You can only cuss LeBron out if you happen to see him. So respond to everybody, particularly James, given nobody's gotten what Caitlin has got.
Yeah, but there are adjustments that can be made. You can make adjustments strategically to take the pressure off her. We just watched the Oklahoma City Thunder do that for SGA, getting picked up 94 feet. He was being worn out by the end of the game. What do? We send a big in the backcourt, or we have somebody else bring it up. We take her off the ball more. She's smart enough and good enough that you can do that. There are ways to kind of keep her healthy and take that pressure off her strategically. When it comes to dealing with all the other stuff, because the one question I have is, like, she's got all these opportunities, right? I mean, there's so much that comes with it, and when the first time you get it, like, you want to do everything. I had this conversation with Steph and Bruce Frazier, who's his closest assistant coach, the guy who works with him all the time. And I asked him about, like, you kind of blew up, you know? I mean, he was the 7th pick. He wasn't LeBron James coming in, and yet he grew to LeBron James' size. I was like, how do you handle everything that comes at you as a result of your fame? And he said, one, he realized, like, you have to be able to say no to things. And Bruce was telling me, like, you know, the things that you say maybe to, those should be a clear no. You have to be really refined in, I only have so much energy. I only have so much time. I have only so much attention. I need to take care of myself. And that, I don't know if Caitlin is doing all that, but certainly there's an adjustment period. I think we've all gone through it, right? On some level, you're given all these opportunities. You want to take advantage of all of them. And then you find yourself kind of worn out and you're questioning, am I doing this to the best of my ability? Or do I need to curb things down? I just, the struggle that I have with is that we want to treat, and Shady, I appreciate your position in terms of she's done so much for the WNBA. And we all appreciate what that has done for women, for women's basketball, for the world of sport. But where I stop is to say, as a result, we have to make some sort of dramatic changes.
That's all sports. That's every sport. Real quick, you say that, right?
I don't know that we've done that.
What you mean?
We've suddenly made like dramatic changes to protect one particular player.
In football with the quarterbacks. Quarterback's the most expensive, most popular player on the field. They always making adjustments for that. In football.
But that's for quarterbacks.
So in offense is the biggest thing, right? People want to see a lot of touchdowns. They do? Okay, so on defense, we can't be hitting players a certain way, right? They say it's for the protection of players, right, on defense. But, hey, we want touchdowns.
Correct.
A lot of flags is
that
for
was
the
a
defense.
position. Okay. It was a position,
what I'm saying
not a particular person.
But the difference is that I keep trying to tell you for the last month is you're looking at NBA and you're looking at the NFL. It's already exists. It's already here. The WNBA just got here. Why did this get here, Slick?
Okay, but if the WNBA is riding on one person, then that's a very flimsy stand.
But it's the truth, though.
Okay, well,
Like, for example, like, this is what you can't do.
and it deserves to fail.
You can't argue about stats, right? Y'all love stats on this show. So tell me, because I don't know if I can see you or not. Tell me, why is it that nobody, with all these great players, you would say there's better players than Caitlin Clark before she got to the NBA, right? WNBA.
Yes.
Okay, a lot better players.
Yeah.
How come nobody was watching? You tell me. Because maybe I don't know the answer, but I'm going to ask you what the stats say. So the stats say that nobody was watching before she got there, correct?
Yeah.
So now that she's here, why are people watching it? Why are they in tune to women basketball? Why does James Jones have a WNBA package?
For the same people that people were attracted to the whole Magic Bird thing. Were there great players before Magic and Bird got to the NBA? There were. There were great players. Players on the same level. Why? Because they captured a social question. It was a cultural battle in this world, in this nation, that attracted people to the sport, and they wanted to see it play out.
All right, so let's just, can we stick to the Caitlin? You talking about with the Bird and Magic, right?
No, he's talking
I think
Angel.
Caitlin brings the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
This
Well,
white girl from Iowa going up against these great black girls from other places.
And she's whooping on them.
Yes,
all right.
absolutely.
So whatever that case may be,
I don't know if she's whipping on them, but she's more than holding her
since
own.
Iowa, she's whooping on them. Since you want to, however you want to cut it up.
Okay.
What we do know is, if it's a black girl or a white girl, we know it's the girl. What color she is? The girl. She had everybody watching. Caitlin. Whatever the reason why we watch because of her. And when she doesn't play, we see the stats say the viewership goes down. And when she does play,
some of that is skewed because the Fever games are by and large, the only ones that are being televised.
Why is that?
Because she's the attraction.
We have an MVP.
And it's only her second year.
We have an MVP in Vegas.
Asia Wilson.
That's always been popping, right?
Yep.
And nobody was tuning into them games.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is, my friends, people I work with, people I know, right? Because I guess you're different because you have a female daughter that plays basketball on that level. Cool. But everybody else in the world, they wasn't watching it before she got there.
Agree. No argument.
They played last night. I didn't watch. She didn't play. What am I doing? So what I'm saying is, the business spectrum of this whole thing, take away your experience of being with your daughter, but the reason why people are engaged because of this girl. So now if you beat her up outside the whistle.
But that's not why she got hurt.
But I'm just saying, when you watch this and they beating her up outside this whistle, who's gonna watch now?
So really quick,
I can't protect her. I can't. I understand what you're saying and why you're saying it. I can't. I go against this idea that I'm going to protect one particular player.
I understand
James,
what you're trying to get to.
Special treatment.
I just got a question.
That's life.
Because you brought up Shea and OKC.
This is the this is the same as
because it was a great point though. It was a great point because you brought up Shea and OKC, and you said you've seen how the wear and tear on him from this series with the Pacers because they picked him up full court. We've seen that. Imagine it being 2 years, Slick. Non-stop, Slick. Every time we turn Shea on for 2 years, it's gonna be a wear and tear on his body. And that's what I'm saying. No matter how strong you get, if they continue to approach her like that, I am worried about the health of her.
No.
You have to
it's not. You gotta we gotta find a way to get them to stop approaching her
I'm not
a certain
saying
way.
stop. It's
we
not
gotta
going
find
to
a
stop.
solution from the other end. The Indiana Fever have to find a way to make the game easier. The league, the NBA didn't suddenly say, hey, Rick Carlisle, you can't press SCJ anymore.
That's one.
What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.